Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. Why you want to supplement this long COVID Social Security Disability Residual Functional Capacity Form with other residual functional capacity forms and staple them all to that attending physician statement form. As I've said, that attending physician statement form is generic. It doesn't ask the right questions. It certainly doesn't ask the right questions in view of the complexity of a long COVID hauler case. As I explained, I tried one of the first long COVID Social Security cases in the United States. And before the hearing, the judge asked me how I should go about deciding the case. I told him we should approach the long COVID issue separately, each body system involved individually, then a combination of all the medical conditions. And if there was something new, if there had been an aggravation of a pre-existing condition, we wanted to address that. And if there were new medical conditions that developed post-COVID, we were going to also address those. So I submitted an RFC form for every system that was involved with my particular client's issues: pain, orthopedic spine issues, cardiological issues, POTS issues. And we had her doctors complete these forms to attest to the individual restrictions and limitations. Now, again, if we have a situation where we have a pre-existing condition, we want to document the progression of the disease, the symptoms, and the functionality with that appropriate form. If we have complications from COVID, be they pulmonary, cardiological, urological, neurological, cognitive, we want the appropriate residual functional capacity form. And if you've got a new disease like POTS or the activation, Ehlers-Danlos, chronic fatigue syndrome, trigeminal neuralgia, tinnitus, whatever is new, that's becoming a known new complication of long COVID, we want that particular form. Why? We want to address each medical condition individually, but disability carriers are also required to consider the combination of all these conditions and obviously the impact and side effects of medication and treatment. So I want to give it to them individually, and then I want to argue collectively. And when you combine all of this in a big pot, they can't perform their own occupation or any occupation. You can see that long COVID hauler cases are complex not only medically, but legally. They require extensive proof, both medically and ultimately vocationally. It's really key, in my view, that a team approach be taken to these cases, an understanding of the policy, an understanding of the medical conditions and your disabling symptoms and functionality, what testing needs to be performed to confirm the diagnosis and the restrictions and limitations, tying it together with these residual functional capacity forms, and then tying it all together with the appropriate proof, be it statements from you, your family, diaries, logs, videos, that will then form the basis of a vocational opinion as to why it is you can't do your own or any occupation. This is not, in my view, something that you do for the faint of heart. Just because you may have slept in a Holiday Inn does not make you an expert in handling long hauler COVID cases. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to call our office and schedule a free 30-minute consultation. And if your claim has been denied or terminated, please call us, because you're only going to have 180 days in which to file an appeal. It is the trial of your case. You can't hold your evidence for your day in court, because there is no day in court in an ERISA case. Your appeal is the trial of the case. Complex, factually, medically, legally, that demands the assistance, in my view, of an experienced ERISA and Social Security disability attorney. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Winning Isn't Easy. Please like our page, leave a review, share it with your family or friends or your support group. Please subscribe to this podcast. I hope that you find this information helpful and something that will guide you in getting you both your Social Security and ERISA disability benefits. And by the way, We welcome questions from our listeners. At the start of each episode description, where you're listening, there's a link that you can text us comments or questions. I assure you that we will be addressing these in future episodes. Got it? Please tune in next week for another insightful episode of Winning